I think you're muted.
I am muted. Wow. Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Paolo, and this is This Week in Svelte. For the first time, we are live on YouTube while doing This Week in Svelte. So I hope a lot of people will join us. And with me today, as usual, there is Enrico.
Hey, all.
And let's begin with our agenda. So the agenda is, as usual, we have a lot of changelogs today because of the Svelte Summit. We will show a lot of changelogs today. In the future, we will go back to normal schedule. We have some quick facts and announcement. And we have a community showcase, which I'm very hyped about it. And we also have some discussion. And we will see about some Q&A. So I'd say that we can jump right in, and I will share my screen and show you the first changelog that we will showcase today, which is for Svelte, which is still Svelte 4. I mean, it's old news. Nobody is using Svelte 4 anymore. No, I mean, obviously I'm joking. And I mean, in Svelte 4, there's this fix for ignore expression in top-level script style tag attributes. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know if you know much about it.
Yes, so the Svelte 4.2.5 and 4.2.4 both had bug fixes for the new generic attribute. So if you have a new script block, there's a TypeScript generic attribute for the script block. And these are patches because it was a feature released in language tools and the Svelte extension. But for some reason, the Svelte compiler itself was aggressively compiling what you put in the generics attribute, such as braces being interpreted as template strings, etc. So these are patches to just leave it alone. It's like, hey, this is not Svelte. This is just HTML.
Yeah, very, very cool. Also, I mean, if you didn't know about it, in Svelte, you can actually, if you're using TypeScript, you can specify a generic like this. So you can specify the generics attribute, and then you have your T type available. This also, I mean, I want to warn you about one thing that I have experienced is that, I mean, ESLint doesn't know that these exist, so it will yell at you. Don't worry, it's just an ESLint error. You can mute it.
Let's zoom in a bit more. I want to see that generic attribute.
Yeah. I can zoom and enhance.
Yes, enhance. One more.
I need to zoom one more? Yeah.
Perfect. So, yeah, I haven't used this either, but it looks like generics are on the way in.
Yeah, this is it's not common knowledge because for the moment, these are all implemented inside the language server. For the moment, they are all implemented inside, there is an RFC for this. So they are exploring a bit. You may remember that before there was the possibility to use $sign generic. So you could create a type with $sign generic. It's still work, but you can also use this very nice syntax that I think we stole from Vue.
Yeah.
So let's move to the other more exciting maybe release for Svelte 5.0.0 next.
Yeah.
5.
We won't be going over every Svelte 5 changelog every week because it's an early alpha. There's going to be dozens of bug fixes every week, mostly related to people's feedback. But it is noteworthy that at Svelte Summit last Saturday, it was announced that Svelte 5 is on NPM. You can install it, and we'll go over more in quick facts.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, those are a bunch of fixes. There are, I mean, I am pretty sure that there are at least another 3 or 4 releases for Svelte 5. So, as Enrico said, we are in pre-release. They are releasing a lot. They are fixing all the bugs that are coming in. And so feel free to install Svelte 5 and use it and report bugs so that we can make it better. Another interesting release is for SvelteKit. SvelteKit also can use Svelte 5. So, for example, these actually, like SvelteKit, if you are using Svelte 5, it's actually generating components that are using runes instead of normal components. But I mean, again, Svelte 5 it's completely back compatible, so you can really just use the old syntax. But right as of this fix, SvelteKit is also using runes in the root component. And obviously there are correctly rendered pages that use browser globals and have SSR turned off. So these are just basic SvelteKit, so it's not related to Svelte 5. And correctly show 404 for pre-rendered dynamic routes when navigating client-side without a root layout server load. I always love, like, because when the fix is so long, you can really say that this is an edge case, because to explain why it's happening, you have a such long sentence. It's definitely an edge case.
If I understand correctly, was it SvelteKit 1.27.5 that introduced compatibility with Svelte 5?
Yeah, I think it was like one of the release that we had, like we actually knew that it was introducing support for Svelte 5, and we glossed over it with oh, it's just a chore. But yeah, introduced the possibility to add Svelte 5, and this is actually like, obviously SvelteKit will also have some bug fix related to Svelte 5. And another brand new thing that got released at Svelte Summit is that SvelteKit actually finally has some image component. So it's actually a preprocessor, Svelte.js enhanced images. So you can install it, add it to the list of preprocessor, and use it like this. And this will generate a lot of complicated HTML to make your images look good at all screen size, while also serving like the bare minimum for that screen size, which is important, because if you have a very large image, even if you are visiting the page on a phone, you are still downloading the very huge image. So these plugin help you like serve the correct image to your users.
Yep. And I think what I learned about this new package is it wraps Vite image tools, which wraps Sharp. So Sharp is the underlying mechanism that takes all of your static images and detects their width and height, provides a width and height for you automatically, also resizes them to multiple sizes so they're mobile friendly, desktop friendly, and it compresses them to AVIF image format, which apparently is a new format for really compressed images. I was just starting to get into WebP, but I'm already old news. I got to learn AVIF now.
Yeah, I mean, luckily this word is always changing. So, I mean, if we get better images, it's always better. But it's difficult to stay on to stay always on top. Luckily, there are this kind of tool for us that does everything automatically, so we don't need to care.
Okay. And it looks like we have a guest joining here, us on StreamYard. Please welcome Raul. Do you have any questions for us today? Hello, Raul. If you don't want to speak, that's okay. I can read your question. The question was, how does the enhanced image feature complement or replace the image optimization offered by Vercel? Okay, so I guess when you have a platform provided image optimizer, you can of course lean into that. But if you're doing something like self-hosting or providing a statically generated website, then I can see this image preprocessor or component. Apparently there's two usages. Either way, this can help you for those other cases that is not already solved by your platform.
Yeah, also, I mean, I think the Vercel image optimization is actually like a paid feature. It's not exactly a paid feature. Like, you can use it for free, but you have a limited amount of images that you can convert. While these actually, it's run at build time. So it might like longen your build time, so it might still have an impact on your Vercel build. But I think this is also like one of the reasons why you might want to use this plugin instead of the image optimization offered by Vercel.
Yeah, hi, this is Raul. Yeah, thank you for the explanation. I appreciate it. It's exciting features.
Thank you, Raul, for joining.
Yeah, thank you for joining. And yeah, I agree with you. It's very exciting. Also because like it's one of those like using media inside your website is something that is very difficult to get right. So it's good that like the Svelte core team is actually helping us.
Yep. And we got some comments on YouTube. I am optimizing images after upload using Sharp in a VPS. Yeah, so currently you have to come up with convoluted workflows or continuous integration to achieve something similar, because sometimes you don't want a local build to be minutes long. Sometimes you want to defer that to continuous integration. And yeah, this I'm sure you can balance it out, but keep in mind this is a version 0 release. So while it's in beta, try it out, give lots of feedback as they patch it until the eventual V1.
Also, I have yet to try this, but maybe it would be like one of the first thing that comes to mind is like they could add an option for this plugin so that like if you are in dev mode, like if you are building in dev, it will not like build, so that your dev build could be very much shortened. So it's a good it's a good thought to have.
Yeah, that might actually be a thing already. And another clarifying question from earlier was, why would you want to include the generic attribute? This is a throwback. Why would you want to include the generic attribute to your HTML as opposed to your JS? I think everyone's answer to that is we don't know yet. It's an experimental way to define generics in Svelte. So if you head over to the language tools repository, there's an open discussion where people can offer feedback on this interface.
And also like the problem I think is that obviously like the script tag of the Svelte component is actually kind of the entry point of a function, if you want. So without like you have to have a way to set a generic, because for example, let's say that you have a table list, a generic table list, that whichever argument you are taking in, like for example the items, and you want that item type to be reflected inside, I don't know, a slot inside a snippet, like small spoiler, but so you want to be able to specify a generic for a Svelte component, but you don't have a way to specify it inside JavaScript itself. So they tried with, as I was saying, they tried with $$ generic type that you could create a generic this way, but it was pretty convoluted and not very likely. So if you see the script tag of a Svelte component as the entry point to a function, you may see that like, okay, the generic, it's okay to be there.
Alrighty.
Okay, so we had our let's first go here. So this was like our changelog. So let's move to the quick fact and announcement. And the quick fact is that obviously, like as we can see, Svelte Summit Fall 2023 happened last Saturday, I guess. So this is the YouTube link. On this very YouTube channel, you can see it. Give it a watch. It's quite long for the moment. We have chapters here, so if you are interested in a specific talk, you can go ahead and skip to the right talk. But it's 4 hours and 27 minutes of pure Svelte content. So if you are like us and you enjoy your Svelte content, please go ahead and watch the whole Svelte Summit, because there were a lot of exciting announcements and a lot of very cool talk. And also, I mean, me and Enrico both presented that talk, so do it for us.
If you're like me, you can also recap the Svelte Summit by setting YouTube to 2x speed, and just by watching the talks and not the intermissions, you might get it all done in an hour.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, you have no excuse. Like 1 hour is. And this was the first quick fact. Yeah, I agree with Usama. Oh, sorry,
Svelte
I
Summit
will
was
probably
awesome. I highly
mispronounce
recommend
your
watching
name.
it.
There's also another YouTube video, because yesterday Ricciuti was presenting Svelte 5 to learn with Jason. So it's 1 hour and 28 minutes of Ricciuti and Jason talking about Svelte 5. Rich also did a talk on Svelte Summit presenting the new features of Svelte 5. So feel free to watch both if you are interested in like the new features of Svelte 5, how it works, the main advantages of Svelte 5. And also, like another very quick fact is that you can today, as we've said, use Svelte 5. There is, like, I'm sharing this because you can really easily do it in Svelte Lab by going on sveltelab.dev/?t=5. And this will give you a SvelteKit application with Svelte pre-installed, Svelte 5 pre-installed. One thing to notice is that, unfortunately, at least for the moment, you cannot use PNPM to install Svelte 5. You have to use NPM. And also, you have to use NPM with the legacy peer deps. And this is a flag for the NPM install, because basically these tell NPM to also install the peer dependency, I think. I can never remember. But yeah, you can try it out. You can try it locally. Also, I think as of yesterday, if you do npm create svelte, it will actually propose you to try with Svelte 5. So that's another thing. And again, feel free to try Svelte 5, break it, report issues, and enjoy it.
Yeah, also note, if you wish to try out Svelte 5 locally on your computer, you can run npm create svelte at latest. And once you go through the prompts, the last prompt will ask you, would you like to try Svelte 5? If you toggle that on, you can try Svelte 5 locally. So Paolo's demonstrating here.
I don't think I can zoom in. Let me see. Yeah, I can.
I will zoom enhance. Show us your terminal. There we go.
Okay, so you can create my awesome Svelte 5 project, and you can choose SvelteKit demo, Svelte skeleton project. Yes, using TypeScript. Yeah. I missed it, but you can see. We have to reboot.
Yeah, it was one of the last prompts.
Sorry. Svelte 5 skeleton project using TypeScript. And as you can see, like, try out Svelte 5 beta. You can press space here, and when it installs, it will actually create a Svelte 5 project for you.
Here it's beta, and depending on who you ask, it may be alpha. Just be careful when using it on production. Do expect many, many bugs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very, very alpha. I mean, the Svelte Discord, where also you can ask questions about Svelte 5. It's called Svelte 5 Alpha, so it's definitely alpha. But yeah, try it out. Okay, let's move to the other part of the agenda, which is the community showcase. And so today, joining us, there is Moritz, right? Did I say your name right? Okay.
Yes, that's perfect.
So Moritz created this very, very cool library for Svelte, which is called Svelte Flow, right?
That's right. Yes.
I think as an introduction, it's a library. I mean, it will showcase his library, but I think like you also created the React Flow before, and you choose to create like the version for Svelte next, right?
Yes, that's all correct.
Okay. Well, I guess now it's your turn to share your screen. I will actually add this to the thing. And it is your library, please.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for having me. If you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. I'm also in the chat. If you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, I will just show you what's possible with Svelte Flow and give you a very quick demo of what you can build with it. So this is a fresh Vite app. As you can see, I just removed everything so that we can start fresh here. First thing I'm doing is, of course, I want to, first thing I need to install it, npm. So it's published on npm, xyflow/svelte. We go, no. Here we are. Now we can import it. It's a bit weird to work in a code editor with such a big font size. So basically, Svelte Flow is the component we need, and Svelte Flow always takes the space of the parent container. So we need to do something here. We just add a div and say style height full screen. And the basic thing you need for Svelte Flow to work are nodes and edges. I will just go with an empty array for now so that we can see something. I'll explain this to you in a second. Oh, what is this? Not this. So here we go. Need to start the dev server. And here we go. Yes. So this is the beginning. I need to add some more stuff. We always need to import the styles. They can be found here in this folder. So this is an empty pane. I will add one node, and then I'll start to explain a bit what's going on here. Okay. I should have done this before. Now it's a bit boring for you. Sorry for that. Yeah, and as I said, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, so as Moritz is coding, it looks like, Moritz, you're developing a flowchart visualizer.
All right. Yeah, that's it. As I said, I will explain to you what's going on here. So this is a bare minimum Svelte Flow application. This is all you need to display something. So Svelte Flow, as Enrico already explained, is a library for building node-based UIs, and that can be anything from static diagrams that can be used in documentations to super complex pipeline workflow editors. So what do we see here? We have a Svelte Flow component. That's our main component that takes all the props. There are lots of ways to configure it. And the basic things you need are nodes and edges. And in this case, I'm rendering one node. I give it a position and a data label in this case. So what we can see here is a node, node A. So let's say we want to add some more nodes so that it gets a bit more funny. Oh, where am I?
Excuse the interruption. Would you mind resharing your screen?
Am I back?
Yeah, I see you, but I think your screen fell out.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Am I back?
Yep. Continue, please.
All right. Thank you so much. So let's add 2 more nodes. Give it some position here, something here. So now we have 3 nodes. Let's say we want to connect them. We also have edges, as I already told you. So we can say, hey, let's draw an edge between node A and B. Give it an ID. Okay, this looks good. Now I have made a connection, a so-called edge in our case. And now there are lots of things we could do with this thing. One thing almost everyone uses is fit view. So when the initial chart gets rendered, we want to fit the view so that everything is visible. This already looks way better. And Svelte Flow also comes with lots of additional components. So you can we not only have nodes and edges built in, but we also have, for example, a background, controls, what else? A minimap. And then it already looks a bit more interesting. So as you can see, we have a background here, a dotted background. We have some controls on the bottom left, and we also have a minimap, which is nice to give you an overview what's happening. And as you can already see, we have an interactive flowchart with lots of things built in. You can select a node, you can drag a node, you can create new connections. We also have something like this. All that stuff you know from the tools you already know. And the most powerful thing I would say about Svelte Flow is that you can have custom nodes. And a custom node is basically just a component. And normally when you develop an application with Svelte Flow, it's all about custom nodes, because this is a built-in stuff. You might use it for easy things, but the very interesting thing are custom nodes. So this is the funny part, and I can show you how this works. So there are 3 built-in node types, but we can easily extend those node types by saying node types equals, let's call it custom. I have to create it, of course. New file. No, new custom nodes. What did I do? This was a folder, I guess. Yes. It's very weird for me to live code.
Yeah, I understand your monitor is very large, but we all appreciate it.
And coding and speaking at the same time is feels also a bit weird, but here we go. Okay, now we have a, now I can import this. So as I said, a node, a custom node is just a Svelte component. So in this case, it's really just a div with a message custom node. Quite stupid, but I think you get the point. So I will add the new node types here. There's an issue because I didn't. Yeah, I should implement the props here, but this works for demonstration. Yeah, let's say every node. Let's type custom. Yes, this looks good. And now my flowchart looks like this because I haven't implemented anything in the custom node besides this custom node label. So again, here I could say so how this works. This might be this would help to understand the concept here. How this works is that we internally wrap this component with some extra functionality and pass you some props that you can use here, like for example the ID, of course, but also the data object or the position. All you need to do the stuff you need. Let me check. What data export data. And now we could do data label here, for example. We could also, of course, style it way more easily here. Custom. Classy red background. Stuff like that. Let me check. No, it's not working. What's going on? Oh, this is not how we do it here in CSS. So yeah, this is it. So as you can see, we still have all the functionality we have with the normal nodes, and now we can do all the things like oh, here's the question. No. For example, you type in something in node A, and then you want to do stuff in node C, or want to do calculations or whatever. So this is basically the things that you can do with custom nodes. I can go a bit further here. So if we also want these little dots, we call them handles. Other libraries call them ports that are used to connect nodes. We can easily add them here. Type source, and I want it to be on the right. I have another handle on the left, which is the target. Now my node should look better already. Thanks, Copilot. Yeah, now I have. Yes, I had to refresh, of course. So now I basically recreated our default built-in type, but now we can do, like, for example, let's say we want to add an input here. Maybe not here, but here. Should work. So yeah, as you can see, you can basically render everything that you can render inside a component, and I would say that's basically it from my side. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, it's
if you want to see something, if I could show you something, this would make it
something easier. That I always like. The first thing that I do whenever I want to have a clearer picture of what's going on. Can you dump like a JSON.stringified of the data object inside the component? Like I know that you can. Like, can you do it now so that I can see what's? Because I really like. I mean, this it's very first thing first. Very cool. Like I like this library a lot. It seems very flexible, and it made me like it gave me like I want to try it out. I don't know where I will I will have the opportunity to try this out, but it really gave me the will to try this out. But I would also like to see what's like what the kind of data that I have at my disposal inside a custom component.
Yeah, I think I get your question. So currently, I'll show you this again. So currently, data is just a hard-coded label here. It's that's basically it, because we are not doing anything with the input, right? But we could say, let's say, this also for simplicity could be quite stupid, but let's say our data now is called text. Of course, we could all type this. It's a writable, so we will use it for the input, so that we have something dynamically that we could then also use in other nodes. Let's say we don't show the label here, but the ID of the node, so that we can distinguish. Does this work?
We're really getting into the flow now.
Okay, let's see. Hopefully it works. Okay, I think we should do something with it. Yes. Yes.
$. Yeah, very cool.
Where am I? Here. Okay, good. So now we created. We still have our basic flow, but in each data object there is a writable that we can adjust, and that we could also use in other nodes. So one interesting thing, I mean, this is fun, but also not super funny. But I could also say, hey, in this node, I want to see what's inside this node, and when it changes, I want to change something here, for example. So this is something very powerful that you can do. Don't want to make it too complex here, but let's see. So we have a util function for this. Get incomers. Yes, it already knows. I need to pass in nodes and edges to find the incoming nodes, and then we can do something with it. We also have helpers for this. You could also just, of course, use your writables that are defined here, but sometimes it's just easier to do it like this. Thanks. So what do we want to do? We want to display all the text of our incoming nodes, let's say. Doesn't make too much sense. Or, oh, here it already gives us something. What is it? It's a node. Let me just check if this what's going on here. Did I break something? Yes, of course. Incomers. What's going on here? Could you find the issue already? Incomers only install a subscribe method. Yes, that's correct.
Does
I
get
think you need to remove the dollar.
This looks better?
Yes, it should.
So let me check if we can, if this works. No, right? This should node ID, node incomers, get ID. Why is it not working? Each incomers has node ID. So I would, yeah, let's do this. That's quite weird. It seems that is anything wrong here? Get incomers, nodes, edges. Get incomers. I'm not sure why it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry.
Yeah.
I was just curious about, like, so you also get all the like everything that you have defined inside the node, the nodes.
Yeah.
Writable, you get it as a prop, right? So you get the position,
Sure.
for example.
Sure.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And
Okay.
also, I have to say, I like these. I like these API very much. Like it feels very natural. It feels very powerful.
Thanks. So this is basically what you get inside the custom node. So ID, data, and some other stuff like the current position, or if it's currently dragging, so that you can do something with this information inside your component.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to take one question and then move on to our next bit. So Raul will join us back on stage to ask about use cases.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, this is looking interesting. I haven't looked at it yet, so I was wondering if you've seen any interesting use cases. Like the first thing kind of pops up to mind would be like an interactive pop-up or dialogue that somebody could interact with with the help of your application flow. If that makes any sense.
Yes, I mean, depending on how complex your application is or what you are going to show, that makes sense for sure, yeah.
So have you seen anything that's your favorite so far?
Oh, that's a good question. A favorite. So there is basically, right now, there is only one live thing, or there are two live applications built with SvelteFlow. I really like this. It's called FFmpeg Explorer, and you can basically build your CLI FFmpeg command with a node-based tool. And as you can see, it visualizes your CLI command, and then you can edit your video. And I think this is a really cool application, but also quite complex, as you can see.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, anything that needs to use a flow, a node flow, it's probably something very complex.
Could be, yeah. But I mean, for example, chat builders are often built with node-based UIs, and there it's not too complex. You basically have a message flow, and then depending on which way you go, you get this little tree, and if the message is not too long, I think it's a pretty good UI and gives you a pretty good overview. Also easy to work with in a lot of cases.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
See you again.
Bye.
Okay, so we can move to our discussion. And what we want to discuss a bit is, like, first thing first, a quick, I will share my screen again, because as we've said, like, Svelte Summit happened last Saturday, so we want to do a small retrospective on this Svelte 5 on this Svelte Summit. Like, we can showcase a bit of the talk, and also, like, we also would like to know what you liked about the Svelte Summit, what you don't liked, so that we can do better next time.
So leave your comments in the chat and we'll discuss together. But this will be a really fast recap because we're running out of time.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, this is a fast recap if you don't want to see it, but go see it. So obviously, like, the main dish was this Svelte 5 alpha release by Ricciuti that presented, like, the new features of Svelte 5, which is very cool, and also, like, with, as usual, a very good talk about Rich.
There's also a really good talk by someone you might know named Paolo.
Yeah, there is this weird guy that wrote a bunch of things, but I mean, this was my talk about progressive enhancement that you should definitely see, not because it's my talk, but because you should learn progressive enhancement. And speaking of accessibility and progressive enhancement, there is another talk by another guy that you may know about accessibility tips with Svelte solutions. So if you have encountered some Ali problem inside your Svelte application, instead of just muting that warning, go watch Enrico talk and know how you can fix that accessibility problem. There's also this very cool talk by Romain Laurson. I don't know if I will probably messed up the name, but, like, the French community is very active, and they translated the Svelte docs. So if you speak French and you maybe struggle with English and you want to learn Svelte, there are docs for Svelte and SvelteKit in French.
That talk was cool to me because in the beginning, Roman explained how most developers already know English, but most junior developers, or those coming new to something like Svelte and they haven't used it before, if there's a language barrier in addition to a knowledge barrier, things get really difficult. So what's impressive is not only do they translate the good bits of the Svelte documentation, but they also provided a glossary. So in the current Svelte docs, there is no glossary, but in the French docs, there is, because some technical terms are only used in English, like there's no French alternative. So they had to define the English terms in its own way in French.
And also, I mean, it's also very, very interesting because it was basically a tutorial on how to translate docs, which, again, it's cool because if you maybe want to translate your the Svelte and SvelteKit docs in your native language, you can watch the talk and know how they do it, and do it for your fellow citizen of your same nation. I don't know if it makes sense what I said. Then there is a French guy, speaking of which, Jean-Yves Couet. Again, I don't know if I say it right, but he's very, very good with GraphQL, and he's using intensively, and he teaches us how to use GraphQL and SvelteKit, which has a very tight integration, a much tighter integration than what I think, because, I mean, like, he showcased Houdini, but it was really, really good, a very tight integration. There is also the Great Escape, breaking out of React with Svelte and Vanilla.js. So this also was a very, very cool a very, very cool talk by Steven Stavrakis, which did basically a very good introduction to SvelteKit, while also providing a lot of insight of how he uses the like gzip, for example, like JS library, and how easy it was to use them inside SvelteKit. Very good talk too. Also, another very interesting talk, at least for me, because I haven't had the opportunity to try this yet, but Svelte is getting brand new dev tools. There is an extension that you can install from the Google Chrome extension library, which really provides a lot of things for Svelte. So the Svelte DevTools was a bit lacking, but with this new extension, well, it's really top notch. Also, Henry Lai showcased how SvelteKit fare as a single-page application framework, because we are used to think of SvelteKit as a SSR framework. But I mean, sometimes you don't need SSR because there are situations where you don't need SSR. Sometimes you might not even have the opportunity to have server-side rendering, because to server-side render, you need a server. So sometimes you just want some static file on a CDN. And so this talk really explored how easy it is to create a single-page application in SvelteKit. There is also Svelte Ecosystem CI, which was another announcement. So if you have an important library that is using Svelte, that has Svelte as a dependency, you can create like a PR to the Svelte Ecosystem CI repository, and basically Svelte will run tests against your repository whenever there is some change in Svelte, which is also very interesting and very cool. This was the presentation by Samuel Stroschein, which presented Inlang, which is a solution for internationalization, or I-18, for SvelteKit, which again featured like dynamic generation of files. It was very, very cool. And also Samuel was one of the most entertaining speakers. It was very, very hyped about Inlang. So you can really say that he put his soul inside this project. So very, very cool. And obviously, as we said, enhanced image, like the new preprocessor for Svelte, was presented by Ben, another Svelte maintainer. So this was like the main roundup of the Svelte Summit. I don't know, Enrico, if you have other insight on this.
Oh, that's all the time I got. I gotta get
Obviously, huge shout out to our masters of ceremony, because Kevin and Brittany did a wonderful job presenting this. And last but not least, we can quickly talk about the news about Svelte 5. One of these is snippets. So
snippets.
Yeah, snippets are meant to basically replace slots, which objectively are a bit weird to use in Svelte. And also, like snippets also provide with other information. For example, this is one example where you have basically everything, like this figure with the image, the fig caption, is basically copy and pasted here. And you just need to add an href around it if the prop image.href is present. And this is a lot of duplication. So you either today have to create a new component just for this 6 line, basically. But today in Svelte 5, you can use the snippet. So you drop this snippet, which is a new block. It can take arguments, and you can create with normal markup, and then you just render the figure. And this also like replace snippets, because like inside the snippet you have all the scope of outside the snippet, and also you can pass it as a prop to a component to basically replace slots.
Yes, so snippets are a new way to do slotted content because slots had a few flaws, which check out Rich Terrace's talk to get the full scoop, but you avoid some issues such as defining scope in a tree structure in slots do not work, but in snippets it does work because prop inheritance occurs predictably. But better than that is snippets allow you to define something and reuse it and pass them in as props or implicitly as children. So I'm not sure if one of the examples in the docs here show that, but to actually pass snippets into a component, you can nest them like you would regular children. So let's say you had a component like a button, and in that button you have a snippet. If the snippet is a named snippet, then the actual component consuming that snippet would have a defined prop to match the name.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, you need to specify a named snippet if you want to take arguments. But again, the normal, like the basic snippet, you can just pass it as normal, as you will normally do, and you will have a children prop that you can render. So snippets are very, very cool, very, very powerful. They allow you to write things that weren't possible before. For example, like you could, in theory, pass them via context to a layout, so I mean, this is a bit in exploring. So we will definitely explore these a bit more in the future because this is a very new and powerful feature of Svelte.
Definitely try it out in the live editor on the website shared in the chat and in the link below later.
Yeah.
Also is the new event handlers feature.
Yes, which we can see here. So basically, like one of the other problems, maybe if you ever created an on-click, a button component inside your repository, is that before events were created with create event dispatcher or by doing the on-click inside the HTML element. But like this poses a problem because you cannot spread events as today in Svelte 4. This was fixed because right now to create a proper event on an HTML element, you just need to remove the column. So you just do on click, and this works just as before. But this means that you have like now a component, just take a props that's called on click, and you can spread that props inside a button and you will have a proper event. So in this case, for example, you can create I don't know if there is an example for this. So yeah, for example, inflate and deflate, you can take these as normal functions and you can just pass them to the on-click event.
Yeah,
So
it totally changes the way you think about events because Svelte 3 and 4 had this very restrictive manner, but now we're going back to this prop drilling methodology, which is much more flexible.
Exactly. And also, I mean, it's also probably much more like, I don't know, graspable by those who doesn't know Svelte. So it's much easier. And also, again, another important fact is that you can literally spread every prop. So if you used a button component, you can just spread the rest of the props, and whichever argument that are added, like whichever event that you can add to button, you can add to your button component.
Yeah, I love that because if you have a complex component that has multiple interactive elements, you can have pass-through props. So a named prop for an input, a named prop for a button, and your user can pass in any event handler into either of those props, and you can spread them within your components.
Yes. Okay, I
We
guess.
have one question in the chat.
Question.
Nalin asks, any additional overheads incurred by using snippets over slots? I don't have an answer, but I could say confidently that they're working hard on making Svelte 5 the fastest ever. So I'd like to think that this is accounted for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think on the point of like overhead, like performance overhead, I don't think there is there really is a performance overhead. And also, I think they are much more like, again, like intuitive. So I think even like the cognitive overhead is not there.
Yeah, I assume that slots compile to functions the same exact way snippets do, so they're probably
exactly.
not that
I mean,
different.
maybe not. I don't know. I can't recall how they are compiled, but definitely, like, I don't think there is a performance overhead.
Cool.
Also, I think like there is this other question, like, are named snippets in beta docs? And I guess yes. Like, this is literally the documentation, and there are named snippets.
Yeah, that's a confusing term I came up with. Apologies. So the two ways to pass in snippets is you define a snippet in your component and you pass it in as a prop to an adjacent component, or in your component declarations. I think probably you might have a table example here. So in the snippet above, it says table data equals fruits, and everything inside nested in that table, that's an implied children. So in the below snippet code sample, actually, you have to be careful with the word snippet now. In the below code example here, we have a children prop being extracted from the props rune. That is the implied children. You can also name it explicitly. You can have a prop called cell or row in a table component. I actually made this recently. So if you have a prop named row, then you can have a snippet nested in table, call that snippet row, and it'll automatically be passed in as a prop, so long as it's nested. That's what I call a named snippet.
Yeah, and also, I mean, in theory, if you prefer, you can also like define it outside and literally pass it as a prop. It's fine too. But again, it's much easier to do it by nesting.
Cool.
Okay, I think we reached the end of our agenda, so I will remove my screen so that we can like buy you with our large faces. And I will definitely thank you, and we'll see you again in the next episode of This Week in Svelte.
Bye bye.